Now, one person is in a critical condition after a tree fell on a Toyota Land Cruiser and a motorcycle at the switchback road in Accra following the short but heavy and windy rains this morning. At least 5 more vehicles were also destroyed in another incident with many billboards toppled. Now, the sudden downpour, accompanied by strong winds, wreaked havoc in several parts of Accra, leaving residents grappling with the aftermath of flooded homes. Emergency services are responding to the situation, providing assistance to those affected and working to clear debris from roads. My colleague Benjamin Akapo has been monitoring situations at the 37 and the airport area, and this is what he found.
Well, it's a wet Monday morning, and with this wetness came a lot of heavy rain in the early hours of the morning. As I am told, well, we're here at the Switchback Road. The Italian embassy is right here, and the Netherlands residence as well close by. Now you can see from right behind me the debris of this fallen tree. From right there, that's its root. It fell across this street, as I am told, and you can also see the work. The police officers, the police team just left this place in their patrol car, but there's a gentleman here who witnessed everything that happened. In fact, he was called upon urgently to come and see to the cutting of the tree. Good morning.
Good morning, Chief.
Pacho Efrosing.
You're from Christopher Kumi.
Christopher Kumi.
Yeah.
Now where you way?
We are Department of Pass and Garden.
Okay. Now ebana say na no pay uwa denti na wabejina.
Gentia mo ha say anope me bedu adwuma by 6:30. Nti bedu adwuma mu no within by 10 minutes and I tell them busy for mo ha no rush by adwuma mu say edua bi abu ato car so na nipa so. The krenya me ni de basa no me ma me team ni nyina asa say me ye chance operator e wo Greater Accra Hantino. Me my teams ni nyina for machines no eni ye nyina ba e beduru ampa na guy ne hye moto no edua na toro so na soldier commander ba ko bi so run car no so edua na toso
into the pa che say soldier commander ne car and motorcyclist and so
nti e ba sa no na akware da ho nti wo hye dua na se nti wo se metwitwa ne kakran
e importing no no hye
Ediana so high. Asia yeyi motor ni sisi motor no me police phone de ko. Intina what the form and motor ni dana so and ediana so sa dana so. But lucky ni say ediano e tono 9 enani mienu so. But anton the body no. But in body no edu fire police commander ne car no and save you because e toso. Intina be hangi kakra. Intina wo hya ase intimi twitwa ne kakran saa kopem say ebetimi ayi nipa na wo moto na ase no ti yi ma na police for no ma no so a o me call hospital.
Okay, Jina Hokakra, na me explain what Potokasem. So basically, this is Christopher Kumi. He works with Parks and Gardens.
Yes. Yeah.
And he was explaining to me that in the wee hours of the morning, shortly after 6:30 when he had arrived at work, he got a call from the Italian embassy, an urgent situation. A tree had fallen, as we can see right behind us. And when he got here together with his team, he realized that it had fallen on an army officer's vehicle, a car, and then a motorcyclist as well was underneath it. What he says saved the motorcyclist was the fact that the car had lifted the tree a bit, but it had still fallen on the motorcyclist. He couldn't extricate himself. And he was taken to the hospital. What hospital am I
because of that, you know me to try to omo rush no and omo dey call my hospital call omo dey call it.
It is so far no obetumi aka say there more clear road no na ndema no mo dey call he.
Say I'm say you clear road no wie. Wa wo hwe ha enua no gu ho. Nti afa ne yanya access car no besina konti afa na yes sasa nioma na afiri an ya clear road ni nyina. Sa ne adwuma pasanga ne ye no. Nti etwa ya clear ni nyina ne da kogu office. Ya sesa wura ni nyina ne ya clear ekwa mu nyina sadia accident bi antimi sama bim. Nti wuhwe we ya wo ho na ye betwitwa ne kakran ye nyina afiri ho.
They are not yet done. You can see from the other stretch of the road that there's still a lot of work to be done so that traffic from the other end coming from the New Horizons Special School can also go through. But I also have the director of Parks and Gardens here. He's also joining me for a conversation. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Please, what's your name?
My name is Dr. Adams, Dr. Daniel Kinsford Adams.
All right. And what happened this morning, as far as you know?
Actually, I was coming to the workplace and I heard that a brainstorm has just felled one tree. And it's on army officers. He was actually the military police director car. It's a Land Cruiser. That's what I know. And
so the vehicle involved was a Land Cruiser vehicle?
Land Cruiser, yeah, Toyota Land Cruiser. A very brand new one, very black in color. So what happened was that he wanted to negotiate a curve to this side, New Horizon School. And the motor also should have waited. But I don't know, he wanted to bypass it. So immediately he negotiated the pass. This tree fell on the two of them. Wow. So that is so the motor rider got on beneath the tree, and the branches of the stalk of the tree also fell on the bonnet of the military police commander's car.
I see. So is this the explanation that the military officer gave you?
No, we said we are all in the office. Our office is not far from here.
So this is what, bystanders?
Yes, we came to the scene and we have to sever this tree, cut it into pieces. At that time, the guy was still beneath the tree. The tree has fallen on him. So when we go to this, I will make it chobe. Then all of us will raise it for the boy to be taken to hospital.
About how old would he be?
Around maybe 21 to 24. That's what I could see.
So he's a very young man. I hear he was taken to hospital. Do you know where he was taken?
Yeah, 37, of course.
Okay, 37 is the closest. Yeah. But in terms of the military vehicle, from what you saw, how much damage was done to it?
I mean, the bonnet and the windscreen was damaged, yeah.
So looking at the situation now, at least you've cleared the main road. Yeah. But those coming from the New Horizon Special School and these estates will struggle still because of part of the stretch. How soon do you think all of this can be cleared?
Oh, we have a vehicle here. You know what we are doing. We're going to call all the people at the office to come, and we will cut this very soon. We'll just take them to our border. We have an area that we do mulching. So we'll put them there to dry, and we'll use it for landscaping.
So it's now about 11:05. Are we saying that in about, let's say by noon?
Yeah, by noon. By noon we're going to finish, because we have started taking the stalks in the stand, but we have to go and put it there. Then we come for the rubbish.
In the end, when you get stumps like this, what do you use them for?
No, normally some of them are used to, we chop them into pieces like this. Have you seen? Yeah, we use it for mulching. Yeah, in agric, yeah. When you go to US, they don't use black soil. They use this one for planting. And that's what we're going to use it. So we chop them into pieces and we use it for mulching. It helps the plants to grow nicely because it gives them some coolness beneath. That's what we're going to do.
The final bit to you, though, especially as we've entered this phase where the rains are going to be coming from time to time. This morning, it came fast and furious. Very quickly, a lot of wind, thunder, and this is what has happened. You can expect that, especially as this area has a lot of trees, maybe more of this could happen. No one wants that to happen, but it could. What's the plan? Parks and Gardens, you are just close by.
Right now, if you could see, this very tree in question, there's a branch leading to this edifice, but it was severed.
Which is this the Netherlands residence?
Netherlands residence. You see, let's go a little bit. Let me show you something. So you could see that this tree is being handled by roots. Right. But the root leading to Netherlands MSC was severed some years ago when they were constructing this gutter.
So it doesn't have the necessary grounding.
So it has a root here, and here, but the back. So when the wind blew it this way, it was not having any backing. That's why it fell this way. So you can see here, there's no root here because of the construction of the wall and the gutter. So I send this warning to people who have been constructing gutters and trenches. When you see any route leading to that end, try as much as possible to call for advice. Parks and Gardens, we are here for the country. Right. Because of this tree, it doesn't have any root holding it at the back. That's why it fell this way.
Do you know what's interesting? If my cameraman can just pan towards that's another tree, yes, right there, yes, which also likely has roots that have been severed, yes, right? Which also means that, I mean, this is a tough-looking tree, but if the wind blows hard enough, it could also be felled. So what are you going to do about that? At least that hasn't fallen.
Yeah, we are going to take it out because it's a silk cotton tree. Silk cotton tree. That is, you see, but it has a buttress rooted. This has a deep-rooted plant. This is a deep-rooted plant. Right. But that one has buttress root. Okay. Buttress rooted plant doesn't normally fall off when it is rain because they have a lot of rooting system which holds the tree firmly on the ground.
But what does it mean? So you leave that tree?
Now we're going to also talk about that because last time we cut all the, let me tell you a secret. The bigger the canopy of the tree, the easier it falls when there's brainstorm. But if the canopy is very small, it's not all that, it doesn't normally lead to that extent. So this one, if you could see, we've cut all the canopies, leaving it in a lanky form. Right. So we are going to continue. But we don't also want to create a habit of cutting of trees. Because if the last tree dies, the last man will die. Right. So we try to, the trees give us a lot of oxygen to breathe in. Right. So that's why we are trying as much as possible to probably stop the severing and cutting of the trees. So this one will maintain it, but we'll do it in such a way that when there's a storm, it will not break down.
All right, so this has been my interaction as well after laying the foundation of what happened with the Director of Parks and Gardens, Daniel Kingsford Adams, who has been elaborating on what happened here, what they came and met, and what likely they will do to that tree, which is also in close proximity. From here, the switchback road, between the Netherlands residents and the Italian Embassy. My name is Benjamin Akakpo, bringing you details of what exactly has happened.
Well, Rejoice Semefakwesu was also at Tesano, coming from a circle, and Awoshi to check on how this morning's rains and winds affected some people there. Watch this.
In Tesano, the aftermath of the downpour saw flood water inundate the area from the police training school to Peace FM, though there's a glimmer of hope as the waters slowly recede. Meanwhile, the towering billboard at the entrance of the police training school has collapsed. In Awoshi, near Victory Bible Church, the scene is no less daunting as high-tension electric cables fall off, causing heavy traffic. Adding to the chaos, the once sturdy banners mounted on buildings at Circle Tiptoe Lane collapsed under the relentless assault of wind and rain.
We were inside the shop. We were in the shop when it was raining because we just finished with our morning devotion. We were having a little meeting. All we could hear was boom, the blood just came down from the top. So after checking, we realized it was a signpost from the building. Yeah, so the whole thing just came down.
I was here, I just parked, and it started raining with thunder and then the whirlwind. But just for a second, I heard that something was coming up from the top. So I quickly parked at the side of the entrance. And later on, my son called me on the phone that I should leave there because the building is collapsing. Not knowing this weekend, Techno company, they mounted a signboard at the top of the roof. And you could see the size of the distance. So I think the air could not penetrate. So it forced to fall down. And we're fortunate that, in fact, by morning at this time, there could be a lot of people standing here. But we thank God that we couldn't have any casualty.
Nti echi na dem frama nti ma mi china na na mu se ahanma tiegu bram nti mi dwane bi ngate no mi bi gate na nyi ena mi die mi kana fan sei mi fan se mi dan mo na mu se asa tiegu ba bia mi ton drink no ena mi ye fa she ekoshe shop no so mi wura ho na mu se asa tie eso na asa tiegu bi nti tiegu na light off nti wu se store na sheki ena ye se be dwane nti enemu nso ni dwane ko side sei
mo fi on na ya ti se ye do no main door no akabu na eye dede nti mi ka che mi bra se mba be hwe se de na eba ni saa na dɔɔ no yɛ gye mi paper na mo sɛ ade nyaa dua gu fam nti mi kɔka kyerɛ mi bra sɛ ade na mbɛhu no ɔnso mbra na ɔbɛhu nti ɛbaa na bɛhu sɛ ɛba na ɔmo ayɛ wɔ soro no ne nyaa gu fam nti ɛno na ɛbubu gu ɔfoɔ no ɔmo yɛ bana bi wɔ hɔ nti mframa no ɛpuhyi bana no na ɛma blocks no weight no nyaa kɔ block nti ɛma blocks no nyaa firi soro no bɛ ne nyaa ba fam.
With more rains expected in the coming days, residents appeal to the government to implement measures to mitigate the challenges and dangers posed by the weather.
I'm sure you have also seen how devastating this morning's rains have been in your area. I mean, in Waja, there's been some billboards that fell on a garage. I'm sure in your own area you've seen some. So the question is, how do we prepare to deal with this situation once we enter into the rainy season? Let's speak to someone who is a public safety consultant. Nana Anoemi here is a public safety consultant. He joins us on the phone lines now for a conversation on this. Nana, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. I'm sure you've heard the news. Where do you think we got it wrong with all that has happened?
Well, good afternoon, if I may say, to your cherished listeners and viewers. I'm stuck in my village in Elambela, United to be precise. And I don't know exactly what the mayhem is in Accra.
Okay.
But I've just been informed that there has been a rainstorm in airport residential area, Tema, and those eastern barrels. And I hear it's very disastrous.
So several billboards have fallen off. They're falling on cars, they're falling on buildings, some trees are falling on cars, and it has resulted in one person, racing for his life now at the 37 military hospital.
Well, I oftentimes say that I think God loves Ghana more than everybody else or any other country. Because the things we do, really, when there's such disasters, we don't get a lot of casualties. But the way we do things, I'm surprised we only have one. Fortunately, thank God for that we only have somebody who is in a critical condition. But it could have been worse. Billboards, we have bylaws and what have you that regulate how billboards should be positioned. But really, the law as it is, has gone to the dog. We don't do the right things, and everybody look on. And we always pray to God that when such things are occasioned, we don't get silly. But as I said, we are the most loved by God.
So I mean, what is that missing element in terms of safeguarding the environment so that when these things happen, like you say, we won't say that we've been favored by God, but that we have also deliberately undertaken measures to prevent the scale at which the negative impact could be?
Now, I wouldn't say we have deliberately. Ghana, we are one of the countries that have the best laws in place for them to be implemented to safeguard public safety. But when it comes to enforcement and execution, it beggars belief that we have the Environmental Protection Agency, we have so many other agencies that are responsible for the regulation of the environment and how things should be done and done properly. But who cares? Nobody talks about these things. I really, over the years, as the immediate past president of Ghana Institute of Safety and Environmental Professionals, I've said my bit. We've done everything possible. We've shouted on the rooftop, sometimes to the point of our own being victimized by government agencies and others. But who is listening? Nobody's listening. So really, I have given up coming on air and talking and talking. Nobody can listen. So seriously, I'm now focused on what I can do to bring positive impact to my immediate environment, my village in Elambele.
So, I mean, if I follow you well, you are frustrated by the non-actions of people who have been placed in positions to help deal with how unsafe the environment is. But
yeah, precisely so. And I would also go further to say that the what do you call it, the media is also not playing its corporate responsibility role.
Okay.
Because there are so many things that I want to bring to the attention of the media for it to be, for them to pour oxygen or publicity on it. But the media is only interested in news such as these ones. But the preventative measures that can be, if you like, sensitized to the people for them to take precautions. The media is not interested.
No, but you just said that there are laws that should regulate some of these things, but those laws are not working. It is someone's responsibility to ensure that the law works, isn't it? For example,
yes.
Mounting of billboard in positions and ensuring that those billboards are not becoming a danger to the people that use those places. Isn't it someone's job to see that doesn't happen? For example, the tree that fell today, isn't it someone's job to ensure that it doesn't become a danger to the people? If the people are not working, why are they not working? What can we do to change it?
Now, listen, you just talked about a tree by the roadside. If you go to the Achimota school, from the Achimota police station, going down to the Achimota school, there is such a danger there. Some trees that have fallen, and they fell at the wrong side of the day. That, unfortunately, it didn't fall on anybody. Those trees are there. That we've got attention. We've got it to the notice of the media. I mean, I'm talking about multimedia, Joy News to be precise. And when multimedia just aired it, and then nothing was done, there has been no follow-up. But these are some of the frustrations that we go through, that we bring some of these things to the attention of the media. And instead of the media hammering on it to the hearing of those responsible, it is not that it just becomes a one-day wonder, a 9-day wonder, and that's it. And we go back to sleep. And these things happen because on record, if you check with Smith, he sent your media team to Achimota primary school area. I'm sure with this rainstorm, perhaps, I don't know, I'm not in Accra, but I'm sure what I brought into the attention of the media, I'm sure that we may have fallen. But fortunately, it didn't cause any.
I hear you, but I want to get solutions. I want to understand what must change, because we are now entering the raining season proper. What it means is that we are likely to have several of this happening. So what can we do to minimize the negative impact that this could have on all of us?
I as a person or a safety professional, I believe in preventative measures. If you do those things and you don't talk about them and you don't tackle the agencies that are mandated to deal with them, we are bound to have these mishaps. And we wait and wait. Ghana, that's a way of doing things. We all wait till there's a disaster, then you have people, ministers, and the so-called technocrats and whatever, they come and have shed crocodile tears, and then it goes away, and that's it. It goes to sleep. Nobody talks about it again. Now, if this rainstorm, I saw some pictures that the trees at airport are falling on many trees, and there was not one single casualty. But imagine there were people in those cars, and we had about 20 people, 40 people dying. Do you see what would have happened today? Everybody will be coming from all over the place, shedding crocodile tears, saying this, and then we go back to sleep again, waiting for another disaster to happen. That's the reason. That's my reason for saying that I'm frustrated. I've given up on safety advocacy and what have you, because the media is also not assisting. We cannot only blame the politicians or the civil servants or public servants, but the media also have a role. You should be at their doorstep and hammering on them. Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? But the media, only interested in sensationalism. You're not interested in some of the preventative measures that will bring to your attention for you to help people. That's my take on this.
So you think a lot more people and a lot more stakeholders are supposed to be held responsible for what is happening. I mean,
absolutely. And from now on, if you're going to give us the airtime for us to air some of these things, to sensitize the public, that do some of them out of ignorance do not know some of these things that may bring fatalities and disaster to the environment.
Okay.
But some of us, as environmental professionals and safety professionals, we are here, and when we see these things, we bring to the attention of the media.
Now, I'm grateful.
For me to end, in my area here, in United States to be precise, there are a lot of things that may bring a disaster, and we were waiting for the disaster to happen. LPG gas bottle. People are sleeping with them in their small, tiny rooms, and the hazards that abound, fire hazards that abound. Believe you me, the next few days or whatever, you hear that gas bottles have exploded and killed 5 children in a single room or 10 children in a compound, and then you will be running to us, calling us to, oh, Nana, there's this and this and this and that. That is where
okay, Nana.
You know.
I hear. I'm grateful to you for sharing your thoughts with us this afternoon. Nana Anoami here is a safety consultant there. From that to another environmental issue that really bothers on all of us, as the country struggles to deal with illegal mining, the New Patriotic Party is promising to streamline the activities of small-scale miners as one of the measures the Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia-led MPP government will implement should they succeed in breaking the 8 in the December polls. The flag bearer of the party for the 2024 elections, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, has outlined that as part of what they term, quote, very cogent policies to address the needs of stakeholders, unquote. This is coming on the back of the 3-region tour, the flag bearing backed to the western, north, and eastern regions. Illegal mining is still an important issue due to the devastating impact the practice has had on the environment, and Dr. Bawumia is promising to deal with that for the long-term benefit. Let's share with you how Dr. Bawumia is pledging to deal with the menace. He says, quote, we will license all miners doing responsible mining. District mining committees, including chiefs, will provide initial temporary licenses to miners. He again says that, aside this, they shall fully involve the traditional authorities in the licensing of small-scale miners. Does it sound like something you've heard before? Well, we'll deal with it. Now, as long as miners mine within the limit of their licenses, example, no mining in river or water bodies, there will no longer be any seizure or burning of excavators. So they've been given a caveat here. We will only ban your equipment if you mine in a river or water body. So there it is. Now, every Ghanaian in small-scale mining will register under the Ghana Small-Scale Miners Association with their Ghana card. Okay. Now, they go on to say that further deepening the decentralization of the Minerals Commission as well as the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, and ensure that they are present in all mining districts. This is something that they said they would do. And I think that the EPA and MINCOM have actually moved on to ensure that this is done. But they say they will deepen that. Now, they say, quote, we will ensure, we will, in collaboration with the large-scale mining companies, convert abandoned shafts into community mining scheme. So more community mining schemes to be rolled out to them. They again say, we shall open more community mining schemes and facilitate the acquisition of mining equipment to help them scale up their activities. You remember the government bought the gold catcher. They say they will do more per this document. It says, we shall introduce vocational and skills training on sustainable mining for small-scale miners in the curriculum of TVET institutions. Now, when this government came into power, they trained thousands of small-scale miners at the University of Mines and Technology. What this is trying to do, this one is saying that we will include it in the TVET institution. We'll ask them, what's the reason for that? We'll speak to them and find out why. Again, quote, we shall establish a pension scheme for small-scale miners like we have done for cocoa farmers. Oh, really? Okay. We will set up state-of-the-art common user gold processing units in mining districts in collaboration with the private sector. what has happened, what happened to the gold refinery promise that this party said they would do when they gain power. Would ask them all of that. It says we will encourage the exploration of Ghana's mineral resources with graduates from Ghana's training institutions actively involved in this endeavor. Okay. Now, again, they say when discovered, we will raise the necessary capital to facilitate its exploration and ensure 100% Ghanaian ownership. Oh, like we're calling for the lithium mines. Okay. Now, to ensure 100% Ghanaian ownership of newly discovered resources and greater Ghanaian ownership of our resources, we will establish, in collaboration with the private sector, a minerals development bank to support the mining industry. Oh, okay. Well, so those are the things that the Bawumia team is promising to do if they are able to break the 8. So how different will this be from past attempt? We've been joined on Zoom by the Director of Communications for the Bawumia 2024 campaign, Miracles Abuaje. Miracles, I'm grateful to you for joining us. Now, these aren't new. Why does your team think anything will change when, these are implemented, when these aren't really new?
Well, I think that we've also been trying so many other things that are not new anyway. You would recall that over the period, we've had several strategies in dealing with, especially the Galamsey menace. Some of them we've had to repeat severally across regimes. Others too, we've had to fine-tune and retweak to ensure that we get to where we are going to look at. But if you look at all the things we've done over the period, since 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15 up to date, I think that some of the things we haven't really done are some of these new things that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is speaking of. So you may have seen them being mentioned, but you agree that they have not really been implemented in a way that we would want to measure its effectiveness. And so what Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is asking for is, can we try these ones as well? These ones that have been on the drawing board, some of which have been on the drawing board for a while. Can we try them for the mining areas? What we are really fighting is not small-scale mining. What we are fighting is illegal mining, what we call galamsey. And fundamentally, we're fighting that because of its hazardous effect on especially our river bodies and also our forest areas. And the Vice President, Dr. Bawumia, is basically saying that we should probably have another look at the approach and try these other things that we haven't as of yet tried them. For example, shall we begin to have conversations with the big mining firms so we can have access to some of the abandoned shafts, and then we can let our people go and mine there instead of going to the river bodies and in the forest areas? Shall we begin to look at providing some funding support for these passionate miners so they can be well tooled to mine in these abandoned shafts that would engage the big firms so they can use, so that they are not enticed by, for them in their view, the low-hanging fruit in going to the river bodies and going deep into our reserved forests and mining there? Shall we begin to deliberately look at providing some support for exploration so that our people don't have to let go a lot of these concessions that they get to foreign partners? As you may be aware, a lot of times our people will have a concession themselves, but because they cannot afford the cost of exploration, you would usually have them cede major percentage of their own concessions to foreign partners. Shall we begin to take another look at that? In all of these things, it's obvious that for people in these mining areas, that is their vocation. For a lot of them, that is what they are used to and accustomed to. And so Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is saying that we would review the curriculum for our technical vocational education institutions so that we embed in it training for safe and appropriate mining. So that right from the senior second cycle level, we can have a lot of these people understanding and learning some of these things. It's also made a very important point.
Well, Miracle, before you continue, on that TVET training, when your government came into power, I'm aware you trained thousands of people at UMAT. I mean, how successful was that we think that, putting it into TVET will probably be the game changer?
Was very successful. That is why you see a lot of these community mining schemes that are coming up strongly in our areas. So there is community mining scheme running in a lot of the districts, and a lot of these guys who are working there are beneficiaries of this training. So it was very useful, and that is why we are also of the view that instead of making it a crash course or a crash program at UMAT like we did, we should rather embed it into the curriculum and make it part of technical and vocational education training. But it was very successful. A lot of the community mining schemes have beneficiaries of this training there, and they're actually making use of the training.
How many people exactly did we train, and how many can we find in this community mining schemes?
I would not be able to. I thought you would mention it since you recorded immediately. But the community mining scheme is part of the arrangement in making sure that some of these guys who work there went through this training. But you would be able to. I can always pull up that information and let you have it.
Anyway, let me bring in a mining consultant here. He is actually the PRO for the Ghana Small Scale Miners Association, Abdul Razak. He is joining me. Abdul, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. First off, I'm sure you've heard the plans by the flag bearer of the MPP, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, to sanitize the illegal small-scale mining that people do in this country. How feasible are these? You are already in the sector, so tell us, how feasible are these plans?
Thank you very much for having me. I think what the flag bearer and the vice president is promising us, we being sector or industry players, some of these issues are not new. They are already in the system. But decentralizing them and then making sure that the sector players get access to this land and make sure that illegalities will reduce to the barest minimum. I think it's a welcoming news. But the only caution some of us as industry players are cautioning is we shouldn't over promise, because there are some issues. We already have a complicated industry already. But when it comes to TVET, and then those decentralizing and those type of things, it's a welcoming news. But the angle of chiefs being lances and those things, that is where we need to get a broader consultation and then make sure that people, stakeholders come in to look into it very well. Because chiefs are already part of our system. Because you cannot acquire a license, go to the community to mine without meeting the chiefs. There's no way you can do mining without the chiefs. So they are already in the system. But when we talk of land cession process, for them being part, that is where the challenge is. We need to understand that area very well. And then at the same time, when it comes to support for small-scale miners, we have been crying for this for a very long time. And we are now hearing things of this sort. We are hoping that he will be on his west and make sure that when, God willing, when he becomes the president, he will do what he's just saying. And when it comes to reforms and amendments and those things, as we speak, Minerals Commission are doing amendments and they are doing reforms. So if there is anything at all, why not channeling those efforts to them so that they will just do the thing once and for all, and we'll see how best the whole thing will be. So the promises he's making, yes, we agree that he's making those promises, but we should make sure that all the things that Vice President Bawumia is saying will come into fruition. We don't want a situation whereby they will speak, and when it comes to its implementation, it will be a different ballgame altogether. So that is where some of us as industry players are looking at. So all the nice things that he's saying, yes, it will come and help the industry. But we should be very cautious. Implementation in this country, our problem, all laws, everything are there, but the implementation, especially when it comes to land cession, for instance, I don't see anything wrong with the Minerals Commission side. Because Minerals Commission have even decentralized, or they use this MCAS system whereby you can sit at your comfort zone, apply and do things. But the actual problem we are facing is when it gets to the ministry.
Okay.
So if we want to do anything of that, so we should be looking at that area too, because they give the final license to miners. As we speak, that is where the challenge is. So we should be looking at it at a broader picture.
What kind of challenges at the ministry end?
Right now, when you acquire a license or when you apply the processes, when it gets to the commission does this. It will be sent to the ministry for the minister's approval, especially when it comes to recommendation. He will approve it. It will come back to the Minerals Commission for their final all the payments, that agreement and what with students you are going to pay. When you are done, it will go back to the ministers again for them to give the final license. That is where the challenge is, because all the cry that we are crying as we speak, you cannot get the licenses which are now in the system. They are just some minute ones, because many of the recommendations and the final licenses are staying with the minister, and he's not signing. So if he did not sign, how do you do proper diligence? How do you do proper mining? So that is the challenge. So we should be looking at all those things. If we are putting reforms, it shouldn't be based on only Minerals Commission, but it should also be the political leaders who are handling those things. They should also act, and they will know that they want to fight the illegalities of them. Because if you don't sign licenses, and Ghanaians are sitting down there very hungry, and they want places to work responsibly, and they are not getting it, it will push them to illegality.
Okay.
So we need to look at all these things.
Let me come back to Mira, because I'm sure you've listened to Abdul Al-Hassan there about the challenges with the getting the license signed by the ministry. They think that is what pushes some people to go into the illegality, about the delays in getting their licenses signed. How does Dr. Bawumia intend to deal with that as well, as you try to fight illegal mining?
I don't think if that is an issue with all the approach and strategies that the acknowledges are very important to the sector, with all these approaches that we want to introduce. I don't think a minister's delay of signing a license should be the most difficult thing to deal with. I don't think so. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is committed in ensuring that we're able to deal with this matter and deal with this decisively moving forward, albeit we are always going to encounter challenges because it is an illegality and people always find ways and means to go around illegalities. I don't think that a minister's delay in signing a document should be the most difficult thing to deal with, and it should be something that we should be bothered with, considering all the efforts that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has outlined he intends to put into that space. I think it's the lowest of fruits that can be plugged.
Anyway, but I mean, there are issues that this government in particular started fighting. You've used military men to go there to deal with it, fighting the river guy, or did not work. I mean, if you say people should not mine in river bodies, if you do, you will ban. That is the only time that you will ban. What actually is the plan to deal with mining in the river bodies? What actually is that plan?
If Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia stated it when he met the young people in Takwa, the people want to mine. There will be punitive actions if you mine in the river bodies. This time round, he says, we are providing alternative sites for you to go and mine. And so if you provide the alternative sites for them to go and mine, that should be a starting point. That should be a motivating factor to prevent somebody from mining the river body. But don't forget, this is an illegality. It's a crime. And just as we keep fighting armed robbery, and yet we continue to have armed robbery even all over the world, the most advanced countries, we're always going to have one or two people who may want to commit this crime. But as much as possible, shall we focus on getting some of these alternative arrangements done so that it reduces the attractiveness of this illegality for the people? I think that is the key thing here. For somebody hiding and trying to engage in illegality, I don't think that you can sit here and say, I will be able to nip it in the bud once and for all. You definitely will have one or two people, but at least it shouldn't be on the scale that we are seeing now on the screen, because this new arrangement is one that is providing alternatives for the people to mine. And it's been quite emphatic. And I like what the PRO said. He said, the most important thing is for us to see through the implementation of some of these ideas. And we cannot continuously be pessimistic as a people. We should believe that it is possible, it will be done, and it can be done. Then moving forward, we engage these large-scale mining firms, acquire these abandoned shafts, and move all these young people to these abandoned shafts for them to engage. Already, if you talk to PRO, he would tell you that in most of these communities where we've started the district community mining schemes, we've seen some progress. We've seen some progress in terms of the number of young people who have moved from the river bodies and are engaging in this legitimate district mining, community mining schemes. But there's a lot more work to be done. You need to do a lot more to create such alternatives for these young people or for these citizens, so that becomes the enticing point for them to not go to the river bodies. In that case, when you go to the river body and I meet you there, I know that you are bent on committing a crime. And so when I'm burning your excavators and your champans, I know I have a legitimate cause and an easy cause to get it done, because I have given you several alternatives for you to use as an option in this endeavor.
Miracles, I'm grateful to you for joining us. Miracles Abuaje is Dennis Miracles Abuaje is the communications director of the Bawumia 2024 campaign. We're also joined by Al Hassan Abdul Razak. He speaks for the Small Scale Miners Association of Ghana. Now, you have just a week to conclude negotiations with the government. That is the caution from the Greater Accra regional leadership of the pre-tertiary unions to national leaders. NAT, NAGRAT, and CCT Ghana have in the past few weeks been on the negotiation table with the government over non-payment of the allowances. Despite ongoing engagement between government and national leadership of the three teacher unions, the regional executives have organized a press conference this morning to register their dissatisfaction about the slow pace of progress of the negotiation. James Aveji was at the press conference and filed this report.
About a month ago, the national leadership of these three teacher unions, NAT, NAGRAT, as well as CCT Ghana, picketed the National Labour Commission over same concerns. They presented 9 demands to the NLC as well as government, 3 of them including the demand for the release of the rest of the teacher laptops were granted by government, as the National Labour Commission directed the teacher unions to call off then ongoing strike. Listen to National President of CCT Ghana, King Ali Audu, over what the rest of the demands are.
These are the 6 issues we are going to negotiate. Continuous professional development allowance. Currently, we are receiving 1,200. The teachers' unions are asking for 3,000. Deprived area allowance for our colleagues that are self-posting to deprived areas. We are asking for 20% basic pay for them. Rent allowance. 2, transport or commuting allowance. 3, utility subsidy allowance. Yes.
A month on today, Monday, the Greater Accra regional leadership of the 3 teacher unions says they have revised the rest of these 6 allowances into 4.
For the avoidance of doubt, the allowances we have been calling for over the past 15 years were many. However, due to several considerations in line with good faith, we have reduced them to 4, which include the following: deprived area allowance, the extra assessment allowance, book data online support allowance, and upward adjustment of the CPD allowance. Despite this gesture of good faith by the unions, government has not realized the need to appreciate and demonstrate same. This adamant posture of government will no longer be tolerated in the face of these harsh economic pressures.
The leadership are calling on government to immediately address these concerns.
We are saying, not to be underestimated in any way, that we wish to re-echo that we have become inundated with deliberate reluctance, complacency, and aloofness by the employer, a behavior which we cannot contain any longer. Consequently, we are giving the employer up to May 13, 2024 to, as a matter of urgency, address our grievances. We wish to state emphatically that should the employer fail to address our grievances on or before May 13, 2024, we shall not hesitate to call on leadership to appeal to heaven with the utmost alacrity. And I repeat, we wish to state emphatically that should the employer fail to address our grievances on or before May 13, 2024, we shall not hesitate to call on leadership to appeal to heaven with the utmost alacrity.
They have also given a 1-week ultimatum to their national leadership to fast-track the negotiation on these 4 allowances. They say that if that is not done by May 13, they will take a crucial decision on the matter.
Let me clarify it. The ultimatum here is being given to our leadership, the national leadership, that anything they come to tell us after 13th of May, this particular month, we are not going to welcome it. And so they will also have to sit up and do what is needed, because the members on the grounds, if I tell you the burning spirit in them, it will not be like the picketings that we have been making. And people think that it's only when we resort to strike. No, we are not going to tell the world. That is why we summed it up as saying we will appeal to the heavens. And when that appeal comes in, people will get to understand what we are communicating to the world.
Ultimately strike?
That is the guess people are making, but we have a lot of ways to go about how
you go to court.
Court is one of the possibilities, but we still appeal to God. Our appeal to heaven is a broad statement. We want people to uncover it through critical thinking, and we shall get there.
Thank you. So that Mr. Boateng, he is the regional secretary for the Ghana National Association of Teachers in the Greater Accra region, giving government 1 week, 13th of May, to fix their challenges or risk what they call an appeal to heaven. As to what that means, we do not know yet. From the Nat Hall here in Accra, my name is James Harvey.
Well, joining me in studio is the Regional Secretary for NAT, Peter Boateng, and Henry Tete Afi is NAGRA, the Regional Chairman, Greater Accra. And we also have the National General Secretary of NAT, Thomas Musa, joining us via Zoom. Grateful to you. Gentlemen, good afternoon. Now, let's start from the studio. This action that you've undertaken, does it have the blessing of your national leadership? Let me start with you, Chairman, General Secretary.
Thank you very much. Yes, we have the support and blessings of our leadership. We have monitored what they are doing. They've not kept us out of every discussion that is going on. We've been reading, we've been following, we've been picketing, we've been doing everything. So we are very much aware of how the proceedings are being driven. But then that also forces us to let them know the intricacies on the ground. Because if they are up there, sometimes when we break any form of links as to what is happening on the ground, just opposing that with what they are also bringing us, it becomes a problem. So they are very much aware, and we have their support in what we are doing.
But if you have their support and they are in negotiation with government, is it that you're not receiving favorable responses or reactions from government, and that's why you think you need to then give this, in quote, fire to them?
Yes, thank you, and thank you to your viewers. There is a slow pace in the negotiations that is going on.
Okay.
It's not that government is not coming to the table. Government is coming to the table, but the pace at which negotiation is going, to we the union leaders and then to the members, we think is not what we want. And looking at the time frame, which at every point in time we miss the timelines that are given, it gives us a cause to worry. And so we are getting the push from our members because we are directly with them on the grounds. We are getting the push from them. And that is why we are also pushing our national leaders to put some fire in the negotiation that is going on.
Okay.
Because the last time, after we went on strike, and then Labour Commission, through the court, compelled us to come back to the classroom. We went to the classroom. We were given the 2nd of May for negotiations to complete and bring the outcome to the Labour Commission. As at 2nd May, no conclusion has been made. We have been given 19th June again. And as we sit here, we cannot tell if that 19th June timeline will be adhered to. And so we have to make some efforts at our level to push government to hurry up with its negotiation so that this dilly-dallying with the negotiations will not continue any longer. So national leadership is aware of what we are doing, and we are supporting one another in these discussions.
Again, just to refresh the memory of our viewers, what issues are you fighting for with the government?
So we are requesting for 4. There were several of the issues that we were looking at, which we have narrowed them to 4. One is the deprived area allowance. You know, teachers are teaching in typical rural settings with conditions very difficult. Such teachers need to be motivated. So we have been advocating for deprived area allowance for years now. Government has turned deaf ears to it. The teachers' work does not only end in the classroom, which is the 8 to 4 regular work settings. No. During weekends, we are marking. We are setting questions. We are assessing students. Holidays, teachers are carrying out activities at home. All these things need to be compensated. So we are asking for extra assessment allowance. This is the second one. The third one, research is the driver of education. There cannot be any effective educational system without research. We are engaged in research, data usage, and the rest. We are asking for government to support us with an allowance to that effect. Then, continuous professional development. For the past 3 to 4 years, we have been taking 1,200 Ghana cedis a year. If you break it down, it is 100 Ghana cedis every month. It is woefully inadequate. And we are asking for an upward adjustment to that one too. I think these 4 are not something that we cannot do as a nation.
Secretary, amongst these 4, which ones are tied into your conditions of service? Which, of course, you can go to your employer and say, you promised to give me ABC, you are not doing it.
Thank you very much. The most funny thing is that the conditions of service itself has outlived its usefulness, because since 2023, we've been calling for new conditions of service, which we have not had any solution to. So the existing one, which used to be there, and I believe that not until a new one is created, we shall still be following what we used to have. You realize that...
So what you used to have is from which...
Had this deprived community, deprived area allowance.
From which year?
We started the last one from 2020 to 2023. Exactly. So when that one expired, somewhere in February last year. But the point is that I am not that old, neither am I so young. I've had 25 years working experience as a teacher. And before I joined, this deprived area allowance had been on the table for so many years.
But it's been on the table, is different from part of your service.
It has been part of and then anytime negotiations are being made, it constitutes a segment of it. Because
so it's part of your conditions of on which you were employed?
Yes, everybody, because we were even, as at that time, told, I enjoyed study leave with pay because I taught in a deprived community, and after 3 years, I qualified to go to the university. When those who were in the urban and peri-urban centers had to teach for 4 years or more before they could get the study leave. So it's something that is there. But now that study leave issue is now out of place. It's not being considered. But if you come to look at where some of our colleagues are working, and if you are a regional secretary, you pick up, you drive to a place, and you see where teachers have to cover before they get to school. And when they get to school, the conditions there, the classrooms in which they are working, juxtaposing that one with their cost of living and everything, you ask yourself, are we being fair with these people? Is it a crime to choose to be a teacher? And so if we are making demands about things which are very legitimate and people still see that it's not anything that we want to talk about, then our quest of trying to ensure quality education will be a sort of discrimination, which we don't want to see. Because
so this is not the case that you are actually demanding something out of vacuum, but you are demanding the operationalization of something that is in your condition of service.
The new ones will constitute the data online these allowances that we are calling.
So for the
but for
deprived
that,
area
of the deprived
is in there.
It has been,
Okay.
nobody can deny.
Okay.
And the
It's
last
always in
one,
there.
upward adjustment, we are calling it's something that is there, but as he rightly put it, to say that a professional teacher takes
No,
hundreds.
let's take it one by one. Let's take it one by one.
Yeah.
So the first one is in your conditions of service.
The deprived,
Done.
yes.
Number 2, is it in there?
Number 2 is a new one.
Is a new one you are asking for.
Yes.
Exactly.
Number
Okay.
3 is a new one we are proposing.
Number 3 is the one. The
book
research.
data online support allowance, the research allowance.
That's a new thing you are asking
Yes,
for.
because
then
so if someone asks you, what sort of research do you do to demand for this payment? What will be your response to them?
that's a very funny question because the least a teacher does is to go online, because now the minimum you can do when you need information is to pick your phone, pick your laptop, go online and search through the various search engines for information.
Okay.
So if you are asking for data or online support allowance, it is not far-fetched.
Okay, so you call it data and online support allowance. And how much are you looking at government paying you per month?
We, at the time, we were looking for 20% of our basic salary for that one. And then government is offering something very ridiculous.
Okay.
Because it's still under negotiation, we don't want to come out with what they are offering. That would be bad faith on our side.
Okay.
So we don't want to go into that one. The upward adjustment of the CPD, the continuous professional development.
Yeah.
I mean, where will it be that you want this educational system to progress, and the teacher who is the pivot of this service, you are paying him 100 Ghana cedis a month for his personal development, 1,200 in a year. I mean, it's so unfair.
Okay. Let me go on to Zoom now and speak to the General Secretary of NAT to find out from him where they are in the negotiation. Grateful to you, Thomas Musa, for joining us here. Now, you are on the negotiation table with government. What is government telling you?
So thank you very much. Good afternoon to your viewers, your good self, and to my brothers in the studio. He who sits by the fire feels it. And so we cannot take it away from the expressions of anger and all those frustrations that we are all witnessing across the country these days. These are issues that have been on in our collective agreement for the past 15 good years. In 2009, the deprived area allowance was agreed upon, signed in our collective agreement, and the percentage attached, it was 20. That promise was never honored. 15 years down the line, they never paid anything to it. Okay. I can tell you, look, I have done extensive work in the island communities because I have been doing child labor work for the past 20, 25 years. Being the Volta Lake up to Makango areas. The teachers die on daily basis on the lake because they travel there without the, this life vest on them and all that. They die on daily basis. Nobody is talking, nobody is saying anything about it. Does it mean that the teacher's life doesn't matter to us? So when we are talking about the deprived area allowance, we are talking about areas where they are hard to reach. And people go there only on elections day. The only public servants you find in those areas are teachers.
Okay.
And we are saying that the teacher's life matter. Teachers also are human beings. So when you're talking about human rights, the teacher's right also is equally important and must also be compensated for. This thing we signed in our collective agreement, it has not been honored for the past 15 years. And in fact, in the year 2019, when we were negotiating for the new collective agreement, the promise to us was that this time around, a new committee should be constituted and get it, then they will get it done. Look, 3 years down the line, this one has expired. We sponsored the committee to go and do a new work. When the committee's work was done, instead of they implementing it, they've come back again. They said we should constitute another committee. Which profession can you treat that way?
On this
The
deprived...
same thing.
Okay.
The same thing. Which profession can you treat that way? Which profession? Then I heard you asking a question. Let me now move to the area of the deprived the professional development allowance. You see,
so just before you move there, on the deprived community allowance, what is the percentage now?
Nothing. When we went to negotiate, when the next collective agreement was signed in August 2020, we started it in 2019 and we concluded in August 2020. And when we were about to conclude, they indicated to us that we should allow them and agree with them that a new committee be put in place, and within 1 year they will conclude the document. Then we operationalize the document. We agree with them.
Okay.
We had somebody from the Ghana Education Service who is the chairperson of the committee, and we have a member from the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. When the committee's work has been done, the work submitted to them, they came back to tell us that, look, a new committee should be constituted with all excuses given us. Is that the way you want to treat teachers in this country?
Okay.
We are saying that is not the way to go. So when they are agitating, they are talking about, the teachers sit by the fire. So we, the leaders, we've already told government. Please let me quickly go. You ask a very important question about the professional development allowance. You see, each teacher receives 100 Ghana cedis a month. As of the time that the money was given, the goods and services that money can buy 4 years ago, the 100 Ghana cedis 4 years ago, today is 40 Ghana cedis.
Okay.
My brother, take note of that too. Take note. What I am saying is this. The goods and services that the 100 Ghana cedis can buy 4 years ago, today that same 100 Ghana cedis can buy goods worth of 40 Ghana cedis. So the money has depreciated by 60 Ghana cedis. And the additional, the information we need to give here is that 100 Ghana cedis is not for the teachers' personal consumption, no. It is for the work. The government is giving you 100 Ghana cedis every month so that you should upgrade your knowledge. Remember, teachers go into the classroom with 3 main knowledge. You need to get the cognitive knowledge, you need the cognitive, the affective, and the psycho. And because the teacher must satisfy these 3 areas, the government invests in the knowledge with which the teacher goes into the classroom with. So you are giving the teacher 100 Ghana cedis every month. And the teacher is supposed to do the CPD at least twice in a month. That's what they do. And one CPD is about 80 Ghana cedis. And they are supposed to do about 2 in a month. Now you are giving them 100 Ghana cedis. In those days, about 4 years ago, the 100 Ghana cedis 4 years ago, today is about 40 Ghana.
But how different is that? How different is that from the online and data support allowance?
I am coming to that place.
Okay.
You see, we are currently talking about digitization. Now, when a teacher writes the lesson notes and other related matters, you cannot transmit it online. Remember, these days, we have what we call portfolio development. Portfolio development being when the NTC the National Teaching Council was established, one of the responsibility of professionalization of all teachers is that you need to be able to document what you are teaching. And because you need to document what you are teaching, you need to get the data, get data, do some kind of work. Because whatever work you do, you will leave it behind in the school and somebody will come and work with it. And so you do what we call research to be able to develop portfolio that can impact knowledge and that also can stand the test of time.
Okay.
And you need data to get it done. And aside that one, like I've told you, the writing of lesson notes is not only done. It's not only done in the book. You can transmit it online and other related videos and all that. We use them. And so the question is that you need to support the teacher to get this particular done. Remember, I remember quite clearly during the time of COVID, all these things came up because education must not stop in the times in case we have an emergency.
Yeah.
So we must take note of that particular one. And the last one, which my brothers in the studio added, and I need to stress, is the issue of the extra assessment allowance. Look, we have what we call the working hours.
Musa, I do get all of that, but I'm asking that you are the table with government. Government meet you to negotiate this. What is government's posture? What is government saying that is necessitating your regional executives to also rise up to give you an ultimatum that May 13, if you do nothing, will take matters into hands?
Yes. Whatever happens at the table, they are aware. In fact, anytime we go to the Labor Commission, they come there. And we have been sounding these alarm bells, telling the government that these are things that, you see, the reason why the teachers are becoming agitated is that this same thing has been done for the past 15 years. Same thing. You see, government will come with these kind of excuses. Like, can we look at this one? Can we form a committee and all that? You see, and when you treat professionals in this particular way for a very long time, the moment a day comes and they say that this time around we will not agree, that is where we are. That the time is now. And so they are realizing that the things that government, the plans and the strategies that government has been adopting for the past 15 years to deprive what must be given to teachers, government is doing the same thing. And remember, you are dealing with the largest working force in Ghana. When you take the public service teachers, we are about 70%. And they come and you have all kinds of excuses for them. Does it mean that their services are not appreciated? Take note. Let me put this also on record. Look, in Ghana today, by the statistics we have, 830,000 children are born every year. And if you give up to about 830,000 teachers by the figures that we have, are we saying that we don't need the teachers to bring them up? When there are no teachers, do you know what we are talking about? We'll be talking about child labor.
Okay.
We'll be talking about child prostitution and all the other related problems.
So if I understand you...
So for once, the teachers must be... Please let me conclude with the issue of the extra duty allowance that they raised. Let me conclude on that particular one. Just some few seconds. Look, the teacher is supposed to go to the teacher's work starts from 8 o'clock. We have the contact hours and the working hours. The contact hours are hours within which the teacher will teach non-stop. And so from 8 to 2 o'clock, 6 good hours, the teacher will engage the student or the students in the classroom. Whatever happens in the classroom, the teacher will be held responsible. When we hear them always. And before this work starts, we also have the working hours. The teacher will come to school around 6 o'clock, depending upon where you are coming from.
Okay.
My brother, I believe that I want to believe that you have some teachers, you have some sisters who are teachers, or brothers who are teachers. Find out from them and they will tell yes, and they will tell you more. When they close, they will have to stay to work and all that.
Okay.
So all these things is what we are talking about.
So Musa, I do get the sense from you that government isn't being forthright with you in terms of meeting the demands with which you went to the negotiating table.
Exactly. That is where we are, and so we will continue to engage. And the teachers who sit by the fireside, certainly they will react.
But aside your teachers, those of us who are not teachers, we don't know what is government doing to you exactly at the negotiation table. Just so we understand.
Please, all that must be said. We've said it. All that must be said. We have moved from 17 allowances to 4, and we say that these 4 allowances, even of these 4 allowances, 2 are existing ones. Let me say even 3, because the CPD is an existing allowance. The deprived area allowance is an existing one, and the extra assessment one, it is something that was on the table, and always they will tell us, "Oh, can we look at it?" I remember during the COVID time, it came up. So these are not issues that are new. They are issues that have been with us, and we always say that, look, let us compensate the teacher.
Okay,
the
we
teacher
understand.
Also deserves better. They sit by the fire, and the government must take note. And let me indicate this.
Musa, what I wanted to get from you, because I'm not at the negotiation table with you, so I wanted to understand. When you go to the table, what is government saying on these 4 proposals that you've made to government? You've mentioned along the line that government is saying you should form a committee. Is that all they are saying, or what exactly are they saying else?
They are committed to only 2. They are committed to only 2. And even that commitment, it comes so many conditions, of which it will not be in the interest of the teacher.
Okay.
And so that's the challenge. They are committed to only 2.
What are these 2?
Oh, let's leave it for now. They are committed to only 2, and the 2 comes with so many conditions.
Okay.
So you leave it. Maybe when we get there,
do I guess that the 2 is with the deprived area allowance, because you said it's already in there, and then also the continuous professional development allowance, because these are the 2 that you say are already in your conditions of service. So do I get a sense that these are the only 2 government says I'll still deal with it? I won't listen to the other 2 you're proposing.
No, the CPD, same old story. Sorry, the deprived area allowance. The deprived area allowance is same old story. It's same old story. But they have made some proposal to 2, and the remaining 2 is something they are saying they have their own concerns with, and which is something that is not sitting well with us.
Okay.
And these are things that have dragged on the negotiations. And the people, and when you see the teachers reacting, they are reacting because they've seen it before.
But what are these 2 that is causing you to drag this negotiation? What 2 are you talking about?
It is not the teacher unions that are dragging it.
Fair enough. So government and all of you, government is dragging it.
I'm
asking that what are these 2 elements out of your 4 that government is dragging its feet on?
That is what I have said. Now let's leave it here for now. Let's leave the 2 items here for now. Let's leave the 2 items here for now. Okay. 4 items are on the table. And the 2 government made some commitment to it with some conditions of which we don't want to take it. Okay. And the other 2 they are asking us to drop, which we are not ready to drop. So this is where we are.
Okay, let me come in studio now.
So thank you very much.
No, stay with me. Stay with me. Don't go. Now, what exact decision are you going to take after May 13?
We want May 13 to come. And when we get to that point, we'll take that decision.
You've already sounded the alarm bells. And I see NAT to be a union with balls. So once you've given the indication that May 13 there's an action you're going to take, what action is that?
We don't want anybody to preempt and plan for what we want to do. So that we are holding those ones close to our chest. But we will make sure that it is a decisive one, and the impact will be greatly felt by everyone, including the politicians. Recently, you heard government praising itself that this year's WASSCE results or last year's WASSCE results was the best that we could find in the history of WASSCE. Who did that result? Who produced that results? Did any politician go to the classroom to teach any student? It is we teachers who brought those results up, for which they are taking the glory for or the credit for. So what is it that we are asking for that we cannot be given? I don't know whether you schooled in Ghana. If you schooled in Ghana, you would have noticed the life of some of your former teachers. Are you happy?
Well, I schooled in Ghana. I schooled in rural Ghana as well.
If you schooled in rural Ghana, you schooled in Ghana, are you happy with the condition of your teachers?
No. But again, do I then get a sense that you're saying that the performance of the student will drop because
we are not saying so, but we are also saying that
you use that as a caveat. That's what I'm asking you.
I'm not saying that.
It means that
I'm only trying to say that
your teaching will drop.
If we have been able to bring credit or glory to government, what is due us must be given to us. And like we have been saying, for the past 15 years, some of these issues we have raised here have been on the table. Some of they have expired, we have renewed them, expired, renewed them, and the same things are being said and being done by government. So this time we don't want to go by that line.
Henry, I know that your trump card is we have laid down our tools. Apart from that, what else will you do?
That's the only thing.
No, Harry, let me bring it.
Peter.
Peter, exactly. Yeah, Peter. Now, Peter, if it gets there, May 13, after that day, what is it? You're laying down your tools, or like he's trying to explain, performances may probably drop. Performance can only drop when teaching is not effective. So which is which?
It's not, thank you very much. It's not only teaching.
Okay.
And if you listen carefully, I said that we will appeal to heaven. That statement means more than just strike that people think we can do.
What does it mean?
We cannot be wicked to the innocent child of this republic. Okay. But I look at places that, we mentioned deprived community. I was raised in a deprived community. I schooled in a deprived community. I taught in a deprived community. And so there is nothing about deprived community that I do not know. If you go to a place like Akonkonti in the Bono East, Techiman area there, come to Goso, that is a Ahafo region, and then you go to Chenchen Sibuoso, right? Mm-hmm. If you go to Chenchen Sibuoso, or 1,000 acre. I use 1,000 acre because somebody will ask, is it a Greek term or what? That is a community where the Agric department went and had 1,000 acre of cocoa plantation. And the people working there needed their children to go to school. And so a school was established there. And teachers were sent there to go and teach, and they are still teaching there. Okay. You ask yourself, we're thinking of strike. We're thinking of what? We are saying that if it comes and nothing is done, we are going to ensure that the lives of those people there are still worthy, that we need to ensure how they are doing. But as to what will come out of it, maybe our actions and their ramifications, people will interpret it to mean whether we are doing this or that. But as it is now, we are hopeful that our leadership will be giving the needed results that we can tell the members. Because if a teacher teaches with a disgruntled heart, I do not know what the people will see. We were talking about the allowances. Please, let me just tell you that I am a French teacher. Okay? I'm a French teacher.
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir, monsieur. If it is that I were to teach the French the way I was taught, our children will continue to run away from French classes. And I think most of you did not take French because you said your French teachers were so wicked. We have that title and we like it. It is because where we are today, it is easy to go there on the net and then get something to come and then support what you are doing. Even when you have the access or you have money to buy the data, look at the difficulties that we are going through with our data management and everything. We have it and we are suffering. Some do not even have electricity in the first place. They do not have any means. They even have to cover long distances before they charge their mobile phones and other things. So it isn't anything that we want to attach emotions. We are saying that these are real issues that if we do not see them, then we will need to appeal to our conscience. Because in the Labor Act, it says that we must teach conscientiously in our chosen profession. So if we are going to teach conscientiously, is it when we work out with a very destabilized personality, with our emotions heightened, all that? We cannot do it, and we must not allow that thing to go on.
If you listen to Thomas, it looks as though government is willing to agree with you on two of the four. If government does that, government goes ahead to say, I agree with you on 2, and takes away 2, what will you do?
We have come from 17 to 4. Why does government want to take away 2 out of the 4 again? Are we not contributing enough to this nation's development as teachers? And for that matter, we deserve the things that we have here. Is it too much to ask? If we believe that teachers are playing key role in the nation's development, 4 allowances, let us start from somewhere. We are not asking 100%, 50%, at least some percentage as a starting point. We can make progress. We appreciate that conditions are harsh. Government has said it many times that conditions are harsh, so we are not the ones who are saying it. But if they are, don't we also deserve what we need to be given as teachers? We are contributing enough to this nation, and we shouldn't let it look like teachers are becoming too notorious with the demands. From 17 issues, we have dropped to 14. What has been the government's contribution in these ones? We have been able to show good faith by dropping over 10 or more out of the 17. Okay. And we are left with 4. Please.
If I should add something. The 4 that we have.
A teacher watching us says, fortunately for me, none, and the none is in capital letters. None of my kids would dare make the mistake of becoming a teacher. Never again, with an exclamation mark. It says, brace. Don't encourage any of your family members to go into that poverty-ridden profession. Wow, that's a hard one from someone. He's been teaching in our area for long. He's impacted life, but this is what he's saying now. And I guess it's something
it resonates with all of us.
A lot of you share.
As you asked, if you look at the 4 points that we have raised, they are inextricably interwoven. We can't do away with one and begin to deal with the other.
Okay.
Why? Because if you are trying to see some form of upliftment in the life of the teacher in the deprived community, can he do so without data or having access to data? When the teacher in the deprived community feels that now, oh, I can teach here, I don't want to go to Accra, I cannot go to Kumasi, I feel staying here, I can do online programs and then still be a par with my colleagues. Are we saying that the extra assessment, it is only people in Accra who are going to do it so that they will take the... So if you look at the 4 reasons, it took time and resources, everything to be able to put them together in a manner that when we are dealing with them, we deal with them in a flow, with that fluidity, so that at the end of the day, everybody realizes that, look, we now feel that this is not exhaustive, but we feel that with this, bearing in mind the austere economic measures that we are all facing and all that, we can, with good faith, go on with this so that at appropriate time, we add the rest. That is the rational model that we want to choose. But then if it is that government will choose and pick, then we will also dance to the rhythms that are being played.
Okay. When are the students supposed to write the BEC?
The students are supposed to already be somewhere in July, August.
July, August.
Yes, you
so
know
that's the immediate examination.
That's the immediate examination. Then I think immediately they finish, the WASI will also continue. There has been some changes in the schedules for the 2 exams. So we are not even sure. As I sit here, I'm not too sure whether the timelines they have given, we are going to follow them, because this year they've changed the time for the BEC, and they've also changed the time for the WASI.
Okay.
So we are not too certain about that. But that notwithstanding, we are committed to the work that we are doing. I have been in the teaching profession for the past 25 years.
So after May 13, we won't have the announcement that you are laying down your tools.
It's not only about...
You've said you love the kids. It means that you don't want to lay down your tools.
That is why we are here.
Okay. So you won't lay down your tools. That's out of the question.
That cannot be out of the question. It is one of the options that is available to us. As to whether that is what we are going to do, it is only when that time comes that we make that decision. But let it not be only said that it is only strike that we know. We have other forms that we can pick as teachers.
Other forms like?
We won't tell you. When we get there, because when we tell you, then you are going to plan ahead of. Why should I weaponize you against myself? It can be.
All right.
It can be.
I hear. Just before we go, Henry, what will be your final words to the government? So yours is Peter Boateng. Exactly. Yes, right. Peter.
So what I want to say to government is that we have had enough of trivializing matters of significance. You know, if you have a friend who will want to trivialize matters of importance, it is not worthy going along with such a person. We have been marginalized. We've been made to be looked at with subservience and moderation. But I can tell everybody that those who have already taken the pain that they will no longer teach, for us where we are, look at me here. I cannot go and start any other job apart from the teaching that I chose to be. I did not become a teacher by accident.
Okay.
It is what I chose to be. And so if we can, bearing in mind that the child has no offense in what is happening, it is by the negligence of you and I, because we are in leadership. And so if we fail them, and we are not ready to let that child go suffering.
All right.
So by 13th, if we do not hear, we believe that the heavens are beautiful places that we all want to.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Yes, Henry.
Okay. So what I want to let government understand is that today we are facing off in the teaching profession. But what they do to our demands today will influence the decisions that others will make towards this profession. And so if we really want to develop this nation and to have people committing themselves into teaching, just like your tester said, he or she is not going to encourage anybody who is close to him to become a teacher.
Okay.
That will not help this nation.
All right, thank you so much. Thomas, so what's your final word to the government as you continue the negotiation with them?
Yes, I think that we want to go by the cliche of the national security. But when you see something, you say something. We have already sounded an alarm bell that teachers sitting by the fire will react, and that is what we are seeing. The earlier we respond to their demands, the better for all of us. May God help us all and make our nation great and strong, and help our leaders to listen to the teachers. Thank you.
I'm grateful. Thomas Musa is the General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers. I'll go on break with this one. It says, I am battling with a life-threatening cardiac-related condition after inhaling a poisonous gas in the laboratory. I will not get any member of my family, including my kids, to go into the teaching profession. There's still a pause. We'll take a break here. We'll be back with more. Please do stay. Well, so welcome back from the break. As we speak, the Electoral Commission is addressing a news conference on how the exercise tomorrow will be. You know that from tomorrow, those who have just turned 18 will start registering to take part in the December elections. Let's take you live to the news conference to take a brief of what the Electoral Commissioner is saying.
Equally important to highlight that we have gazetted all our registration centers, as well as the movement plans that will be followed by our mobile teams. In fulfillment of Regulation 3 of CI 91 as amended, which requires us to provide at least 21 days notice to the political parties, we have briefed all our political parties of the upcoming registration exercise. This took place on Thursday, the 7th of March, during our IPAC meeting. And we shared with the parties the various centers nationwide, as well as the movement plan. I'd like to mention that the gazetted centers, our registration centers, as well as our movement plan, have been posted on our website. By informing the political parties as required by law, parties are now able to plan and prepare their agents to observe the voters' registration exercise nationwide. The Commission has always maintained that any interested party should, at the click of the button, be able to know the number of registered voters per day nationwide. This is because we provide them with adequate information that allows them to train their monitors or their agents to observe the exercise. In addition to that, we are mindful and we are confident that the observers also take a record of persons who come through to register on a daily basis at all the registration centers. Additionally, the kits or the registration kits have the capacity to print a start of day and end of day report, and copies of these are available to the agents of the political parties. Therefore, any political party, if they are interested, should know the number of persons who have registered in all the centers in any given day. We are confident that the arrangements we have deployed will help bring the registration activities closer to the doorstep of the citizenry. In 2023, we targeted approximately 700,000 new registrants, and we far exceeded that by registering 910,000 new registrants. We have no doubt that with these arrangements in place, we will exceed our target of 623,000 new registrants this time around. Ladies and gentlemen, over the last few months, we've invested a considerable amount of time into procuring our materials and logistics for the registration exercise and the election as a whole. Since 2020, we have adopted an open competitive bidding process as the method of our procurement. As such, with approximately 95% of our procurement advertised in the local newspapers, we are able to obtain value for money for our services and for materials. It has equally injected competition into our procurement and drastically reduced the prices at which we procure our materials. It is not a wonder that we managed to lower the cost of our election from $13 per head in 2016 to $7.70 per head in 2020, and saved our nation a substantial amount of 90 million United States dollars. I'll now turn my attention to the distribution of materials and logistics. We have effectively distributed all our materials to the regions and districts, and we are confident that there will be no short supply. Additionally, our biometric voter registration kits, as well as spare kits to serve as backups, have been distributed to the regions and districts. We have spent the last few months laying the building blocks for peaceful, credible, and transparent electoral processes and elections in December 2024. And in addition to the two measures aforementioned, our key building block, which relates to the hiring of qualified personnel to assist the Commission in undertaking the election, has been achieved. As some of you may have observed, the Commission advertised this in the Daily Graphic of 5th of February 2024 and called for qualified persons to apply for the positions of returning officers and deputy returning officers. I'm happy to note that we have successfully recruited returning officers and deputy returning officers for each of our 268 district offices nationwide. For the first time in our history, we have created a database of these officers, and we can now identify them by their names, photographs, Ghana cards, and voter ID cards, as well as residential addresses. Hitherto, they existed on paper. They were names on paper. Today, we are able to match a person's name and to his photograph and ID card and so on. I'm pleased to note that the interviews for returning officers and deputy returning officers were conducted in a fair and open and transparent manner. Interview panels were constituted nationwide, and persons who successfully went through the interviews have been included on the database established for this purpose. I'm happy to note that all persons recruited have no less than 8 years working experience with the Commission, having served as either returning officers, deputy returning officers, or presiding officers in past elections. What this means is that every person who has been recruited as a returning officer or a deputy returning officer has had previous working experience with us, either working as returning officers or deputy returning officers or presiding officers in past elections. Therefore, I'd like to mention that there is no truth in the allegation that the Commission received the names of returning officers from district chief executives, etc. In any case, the Commission will make and has always made available the names and photographs of its returning officers and deputy returning officers to the political parties. And any party can object to the name of a selected returning officer or deputy returning officer. The Commission, on receiving the objections, may institute investigations, and if the allegations are found to be true, that candidate will be disengaged. On the contrary, if there is no substance to the allegation, the person objected to will be maintained. It is our desire to continue to operate a transparent and open door policy in all our dealings. I'm happy to note that some selected returning officers will work as registration supervisors during this registration exercise. In all, 3,000 3,277 officials made up of permanent and temporary staff have been trained to undertake various roles in this 21-day voter registration exercise. I'd like to turn my attention to the mode of registration. Ladies and gentlemen, the registration will be for 21 days, and it will include Saturdays and Sundays. All our district offices will have fixed teams, ranging from 2 to 3 teams, depending on the size of the district and the expectation of the number of registered voters to come through. The teams will work throughout the period in their offices. The mobile teams, as the name connotes, will move around from one electoral area to the next electoral area. They will spend 2 days in each electoral area and register qualified applicants in a particular electoral area, as well as the catchment area around that electoral area where they are at any given point. What this means is that once the mobile teams visits an electoral area, they will spend 2 days there. But you find that there are other electoral areas around there, and anybody who visits a particular electoral area from a nearby electoral area would be registered. However, our officers would inquire from them the closest polling station to the area where they reside, and they will register them in those polling stations appropriately. The mobile teams assigned to the 25 public universities will, however, spend 3 days in each public university. We would like to talk about the eligibility criteria. CI 91, as amended by CI 126, will be used for the voters' registration exercise. Only Ghanaians 18 years and above who are of sound mind and who have not previously registered can register to vote. Eligible voters must be resident or ordinarily resident in the district where they intend to vote. The documents required for registration are either the Ghana passport or the Ghana card, that is the national identification card issued by the National Identification Authority. Voters, eligible voters who do not possess any of the above documents are required by law to visit the district officers in the district where they reside with 2 guarantors. And these 2 guarantors must be persons who are already registered voters to vouch for their citizenship and age. Sadly, in 2023, during the voters' registration exercise, the guarantor system was abused, and we found persons vouching for more than the 10 persons as the law prescribes. Our law prescribes that a guarantor should not guarantee for more than 10 persons. However, in the 2023 voters' registration exercise, we observed that some guarantors guaranteed for more than 10 persons. The Commission is engaging with the Data Protection Agency and the Ghana Police Service to explore avenues to bring the violators of the guarantor system to book. Subsection 4 of Regulation 1 of CI 91 as amended states that a registered voter shall not guarantee the identity of more than 10 persons. So it is an offense to guarantee for more than 10 persons. And we observed after our 2023 voters registration exercise that some of the guarantors violated this law. Security. We have to date held extensive discussions with the National Election Security Task Force under the leadership of the Inspector General of Police. We have provided them with the locations of the registration centers and the movement plans of our mobile teams. We have also informed them about our concerns, particularly relating to minors, that is underage voters, attempting to access our voters register. We are confident that our law enforcement officers will assist us by preventing minors and foreigners from accessing the register. the photographs and images of minors in the queues during our last voters registration exercise was quite disappointing. And we like to call on those who bus minors and foreigners to the centers to desist from so doing. We would also like to call on you, our media partners, to help us to bring these persons who bus minors and foreigners to our centers to light. As the watchdogs of our democracy, we trust that we can count on you to do this. Persons with disability. As always, we have put in place arrangements for persons with disabilities to access our various centers and receive immediate attention. Persons with disability include persons who are visually impaired, physically challenged, or persons who have albinism, amongst others. Our officers have been directed to make them comfortable by ensuring that they do not join long queues, but are afforded the opportunity to be served as soon as they arrive at the centers. We also call on the general public to bear this in mind and not oppose the protocols that have been put in place for persons with disabilities. Publicity. As you may have observed, the Commission is undertaking extensive public education on major radio and TV networks across the country. Our radio jingles and TV promos, as well as our docudramas, are being aired in 7 different local dialects, excluding English language. They are Akan language, Gan, Dagbani, Ewe, Wala, Frafra, amongst others. And we are confident that with the extensive public education, we will reach every nook and cranny of this nation, and indeed every household. We have no doubt that this awareness will encourage persons who have recently turned 18 or others who have not previously registered to register to vote. Please note that it is an offense to register more than once, and persons who violate this law will be liable for prosecution. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are confident that with the cooperation of our stakeholders, i.e. the citizenry and the political parties, the security agencies, and yourselves, our media partners, will witness a peaceful, seamless, and successful voters registration exercise that will uphold Article 45 of the 1992 Constitution. We are confident that with our collaboration and our partnership, we can together ensure that only eligible citizens register to vote come the 7th of December 2024. We'd like to thank you for your time, and we end by saying that may God bless our nation, Ghana, and make her great and strong. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam. We want to have some questions and answers. So if you want to ask a question as usual,
All right, thank you very much. That was from the Electoral Commission head or quarters there, where the Electoral Commissioner was speaking about preparations for tomorrow's exercise, promising that everything will be free and fair, and that if you see something, again, say something. My name is Samuel Kojobre. Thanks for being a part of this. On behalf of the team, please, thank you for being a part of the show. Up next is we have business live for you. Stay on.